Hi, it's Kelly. We're going to do a little bit of core work and focusing on lower back pain. So usually if you have a weak core, you end up with a lot of lower back pain or SI joint dysfunction. If you're sitting a lot, usually pain radiates right there. So if you're in your car driving, if your job has you sitting behind a computer, usually we're going to like slump forward, and that causes a lot of the weakness in the core, and then you get that lumbar pain. So today we're just going to do a lot of focusing on the core and really focusing on form and deepening the belly. And then we're going to flip over on our bellies to do a little bit of back extension. Most people don't ever get into extension and back extension during the day. So this is just some good ones to work on if you're at home and you feel like you're sitting a lot and you're getting that pain. Some things you can do when you're not at class that you can focus on. So we're just going to go to the mat, and like we usually do, you're just going to roll yourself down. So bring yourself to the mat and then set yourself so that you're comfortably on the mat. So remember your neutral pelvis to start. You want your heels right in line with those sit bones, and we're just going to tuck back. So we want to really hollow the belly out to tuck it in. So remember, this is always a good place to start if you're getting a lot of back pain throughout the day from, just weakness or sitting too much. Pelvic tilts are always good because you're getting into your sacrum of tucking back and then releasing that sacrum and that lumbar spine. So any SI joint instability, this is always good too. If you have a pliable SI joint, it slides in and out really easily. Sometimes if you can just do some pelvic tilts and some pelvic curls, which we're going to go into next, really helps to try to bring that SI joint back into a stable position. So just doing these makes a huge difference sometimes when you have a lot of SI joint instability. So again, you're going to roll back. And you want to try to keep your glutes turned off, so you're tucking your pelvis to the mat so that lumbar spine touches down, and then when you push away, you should feel your tailbone tap back to the mat. So we're going to do one more. Round it back and push away. All right, we're going to go into that shoulder bridge. So rounding up one vertebrae at a time as high as you can on that shoulder blade, and then finding that articulation of it back to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. So you've got that inhale, scoop, round and lift as high as you can on the shoulder blades. And then finding that articulation back down one vertebrae at a time. So sometimes if you feel like you're weak in the core, the legs tend to take over and splay out. You want to keep your inner thighs active. So you should feel those inner thighs activate, which connects to your pelvic floor. So the more you can keep those inner thighs working, the more this closes down. And remember, it looks like a big rubber band. It attaches to your lumbar spine, so it wraps all the way around. So when your abs pull in, then the lower back engages too to keep it protected. So if you can think of that, and you can also use like a little ball or something between your knees where you have to squeeze it just a little. I mean, you don't want to fire so much that you're muscling it, but you should feel like a little bit of tension on a ball or a block or something between your knees that keeps those inner thighs active. It'll help develop this quicker and make that lumbar spine get stronger faster. So one more, we're going to go all the way up as high as you can, and then when you come back down, really articulate through your spine. So if you're really tight in your thoracic, like slow it down so that you can really try to think of putting one vertebrae at a time all the way down to the mat until that tailbone comes down. Okay, legs are going to come up at tabletop, and this is usually really hard for people that are really tight in the lower back or if they have really weak core. So if you can't get your legs up here to drop your toe down, you can keep your foot to the mat and just do one leg at a time. So you're focusing on reaching out of the hip flexor to tap the toe, and the pelvic floor, or that's your transverse muscle that wraps around again, is the one that's dropping the leg. So you got to pull your abs down to your spine, and this has to zip up like a pair of jeans that don't fit. You should feel like your pelvic floor is kind of tucking up underneath your rib cage. If that muscle doesn't kick in, the rest won't work either. So you got to really pull in. You should feel that closing down of those lower abs. Last one. All right, and then you're going to switch. So the left foot's going to go down, so here's your modification to drop and lift. If you don't want the modification, it's up and reach it out. If you really want to challenge and you feel like you're strong enough, then you can alternate your legs, but again, the core has to stay stable. If you're weak, it tends to pop up in the center. So you got to keep deepening that belly as tight to the spine as you can. So just break it down, and when you feel strong enough, you can just take up the modification to the next level. Perfectly fine. 2 and 1. Good. Both of those feet are going to go to the mat, and we're just going to do a little chest lift. So hands are behind your head, and you're just going to stabilize the pelvis. So think of that two finger space in that hot cup of coffee here. When you roll up, it's just the chest lifting and taking you back. You can see the difference is if I tuck back into the mat, my glutes fire to lift me up, so now my abs have popped up. So you have to keep that neutral pelvis of keeping your tailbone down, and you might not be able to lift up high, and the object is not to get up real high anyways. It's just so you start to feel those shoulder blades come off the mat. So that abdominal muscle closes down to lift you into that flexion. And then you just have to watch the pull on the neck. So your head should just kind of fall right into your hands. It should feel heavy in your hands as you lift. Okay, last one. All right, we're going to take your arms out to the side. Push your palms to the mat, and you're going to bring your legs up. So again, you got to really deepen your core, but don't pull back so your knees shouldn't come behind your hips. You got to keep your abs tight. If you have a big yoga ball, even better. You can use that as the prop. You're going to drop the legs to the side. As you reach it out, this opposite oblique should feel like a cuff. It's going to pull those legs back to the center. So you're going to reach out on the left side, fire that left oblique to bring you back into that center. So again, belly is pulled in tight. You should feel those muscles have to work really hard to keep those legs up. Squeeze as you bring it back in. So you're going to lengthen up, and then squeeze and bring it back. So exhale and that reach. Inhale, back to center, and then that exhale to reach out again. Okay, we're going to go one more time to each side. So as you go to the side, that opposite shoulder has to stay pinned back so you get that length out of that rib cage, out of the spine. Your core brings you back to center, and then that reach out of the other side. So if you really feel like you're not strong enough to that point yet, you can do the same thing, keeping that shoulder to get that reach out, and then that draw back in. So just a modification if you can't hold your legs up because you feel like you're dipping in your pelvis or that your abs are not weak or strong enough and your lower back's getting a lot of that tension. All right, bring it to the center and then just squeeze the knees to the chest. And then we're just going to roll over on your belly. So flip yourself over onto your belly so you're just going into extension. All right, so we're just going into basic extension. This is a perfect one, especially if you're getting a lot of that SI joint instability. You're going to tuck your pelvis forward. So it's almost like you're pushing your pubic bone into the floor. Your feet are flat against the floor. Hands reach for your fingertips, reach for your toes as you lift. So hands are by your side. Take your inhale. Make sure your abs are engaged. As you lift, the crown of your head is going away from you. So almost like if someone's pulling the top of your head away from you, and you're reaching your fingertips back. So you should feel your lat draw down the back, and then bring yourself down. So you're going to inhale, lift and into that extension to reach, and then back to the mat. So if you can do these exercises a couple times a week, even if you did it like 3 days a week, for 5 to 10 minutes, your abs are going to get stronger and that lower back pain is going to start to disappear slowly as you get stronger. So it's going to keep that lower back protected a little bit more and out of a lot more pain. So remember, just going to inhale, exhale, and into that extension. And I always tell people a little bit of small exercises always lead to big results. So if you do little tiny changes in your daily practice or in your daily movements, then you always see the biggest results later. So just reaching back. Just think about that and then bring it back down. All right, hands are going to fold in front. So you're going to keep your tailbone tucked under you and your pubic bone pushing forward, and rest your head on your hands. You're going to draw your shoulder blades away. Lift your legs just off the floor, a couple inches. You don't have to get up here because then you get into your lumbar spine again. So it's just a little lift, and you're just going to do a flutter kick. So you got to keep your inner thighs active. This part of your trunk should stay stable. So keeping your hands down, relax your shoulders, and just focus on lifting, lift, lift, lift. Again, another modification is keep one leg down, lift, lift, without moving through the pelvis, lift. So you got to really fire the glute and the hamstring so that you don't rock through the pelvis. So the upper body should stay completely still. And remember, you only have to go up an inch or two. So modification is the lift and the lower of each leg a little bit stronger, and you feel comfortable, you can go into that swim. All right. Hands are going to come out to the side. Push your palms to the mat. Head stays down. the whole time, so your eyes are looking at the mat. You're going to push through your palms and then just lift up into that extension and then bringing yourself back to the mat. So it's that inhale to push, lift and extend. Again, your core has to stay tight. You should feel this activate or engage, but you don't want to feel tension. So it squeezes to lift. You got to make sure you pull those abs in tight to lift. And then right back down, and then one more. Draw your shoulders down, abs in tight, push through to lift, and then that lower down. All right, going into Sphinx. Stay in Sphinx just for this exercise. So head's gonna lift so your head starts to come up, push through your palms, and stay here. And then just bring yourself back to the mat. So focus on your form as your head lifts, your shoulders draw down and away from you. So you're almost pushing through the elbows to lift yourself up, and then bringing yourself back down to the mat. So you got that inhale, exhale to lift, and extend, and then back to the mat. And then one more. Take that inhale, lift into your extension, control back to the mat, and then you're going to push through your palms to send your energy back onto your heels for that child's pose. So walk your knees out, reach your fingertips away from you, try to get long out of that spine. And if you want a little release into your upper back, if you push your fingertips into the mat, you should get into your upper thoracic a little bit more, so that upper back gets a little bit more drawdown. And then just drop your head again and reach those fingertips again for your toes. Your fingertips away from you. And then you're just going to bring yourself up, and then just the big inhale. Reach and stretch and grab your fingertips together, interlace, and then just rock to the side and get that big side stretch. And then lift out of your seat, and then we're going to go back to the other side. Good. And then back up, and then just bring it down. And that's class. So just doing those exercises a couple times a day or a couple times a week, even if you just did 5-10 minutes in the morning and then another 5-10 minutes at night, will make your lower back strengthen a lot quicker, and those abs will start to get strong fast. So thanks for joining us.